Okay, hello everybody. This is the fifth. This is your fund manager speaking in the series, and today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Swaroop Mohanty, who is the CEO of Mirae Asset Management. Swaroop, thank you for doing this, and welcome to our show.
Thank you, Shweta, for the opportunity. It's so good to see you, and lovely to connect through this medium at these times. So thank you for doing this.
So this is our first this calendar year and this financial year. So while this is the fifth in the series, this is still a first for us in many ways. This is also a first where we've been doing Facebook lives. But today, due to the lockdown and the restrictions that we have, this is uh, sort of our first in that as well. So definitely a special episode for us. Thank you, Swaroop. So Swaroop,
Oh, thank you.
so,
Yeah,
Swaroop, we are living in these times where there are restrictions that people not just from our generation, but maybe even our previous generations haven't seen. There is lockdown. There is just so many different things and different restrictions, physically, mentally, not just, and of course, health wise. So, tell me,
correct.
how are you sort of managing this? These unprecedented times. How are you managing this from a CEO perspective, from an AMC perspective? What do you think are the new challenges that you're facing? Because of course you've been doing this for more than 2 decades. So tell me, what are the challenges you're facing today on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, see, I think when you look at the environment, I think none of us would have foreseen this environment. It's like living a movie at this moment of time. I keep on saying, if a virus was losing the world and all of us are shut in our houses, is something which we would have told our kids to put them to sleep, right?
Yeah,
That's the kind of life we are leading, and it's so bizarre that we are doing it on a daily basis now, and there's no end to it at this moment. It's up to the virus to decide when we will go back, right?
yeah,
That's how unprecedented it is, as you rightly put it. Yes, I think when this whole thing started, and let me tell you that we had a little bit of a head start because we are headquartered out of Seoul, and Korea was like pretty deep into it when it started. So we did get a basic thing on how to approach it. So I think from a head office perspective, they had certain views, and we did get a broad way of how to approach it. I think the first thing that we had to do is look at the safety of everyone, and then that was paramount at that point of time. So we locked it down well, and when we started working, that's probably a month now as we speak. And then the first basic thought was, will our tech backup be good enough? Because this first time work from home, and none of us had sort of done it. But to be very honest about it, I think I was very surprised by the way the tech has stood up. Please understand some basic factors of mutual fund management, which is trading or dealing, as we call it, is also outsourced, and it's from outside, and that was the biggest challenge that we had. So then the second thing was, how do we continue? This is a business of discipline. So how do we continue being the disciplined ourselves that we were before the lockdown? So there also I've seen a huge step up by everybody, and we've been able to continue in the same spirit. I think the question that we asked ourselves on day one is, what if this were permanent, right? And how would we upgrade?
yes,
And I think because we asked ourselves that question, a lot of answers came to us. So from a CEO perspective, life hasn't changed, because from getting up from my bed and going to office, I come here to this table. That's the only change. But I'm very happy to tell you that apart from that, around us, nothing else has changed. We're doing the same thing that we would in a virtual world rather than in a physical world. The same sales calls, the same number of distributor meets, same number of investor meets. The number of investors meets that we are doing virtually is pretty phenomenal, I must say.
I would think they're more actually today than before, because
Yes.
yeah, because we've been
No, I
also
didn't want
doing
to
a
sound
lot of
negative.
yeah,
Actually, the intensity I had not envisaged. It's getting more intense now than we
yeah.
were. I was not spending so much time in front of the screen as I am now. It was not a complete 8-9 hours in front of the screen. It used to be something, then you go out and do a sales call and come back and do stuff like that. But very intense.
Yeah, yeah. You also mentioned that because you're an international fund house, this was something that you could sort of, you got a head start. What else are you listening? What else are you sort of seeing and understanding from an outlook perspective?
Yeah, Outlook, I mean, please understand, Mirae Asset is owned by a fund manager. Our chairman is Mr. Hyunju Park. While he comes down and gives us directions on how to be safe, whenever he talks to you, and I've been here for 9 years, the first thing he will tell you is keep your health okay. So that's been a constant. So that got aggravated. But when you are owned by a fund manager, he believes that these are times of opportunities, and these are times when you can step it up and look for things which in normal sort of environment would not arrive. At Mirae Asset, we are looking forward to, at a global level, looking at possible opportunities to expand the business as we speak. We were known for doing pretty aggressive buyouts and stakes across the globe earlier, but at this moment we've become a little more vigilant. So that's the spiel I get from the head office, that though things are pretty bleak at this moment in the globe, but within this there could be possible opportunities which we should keep our eyes and ears open for.
Right. And as a fund house that has, sort of grown and delivered for your investors, um, how is the team building approach different for Mirae? Um, because that is something I think that sort of sets you apart as well. So tell me, how is the selecting or building of a team different? What's the different
See,
approach?
I think we are a fund house which believes that it is a business of simplicity and continuity, and you add consistency to that, and that's the business. Okay, it's a business of a lot of what can I say, patience, and for us, when we approach this, we did discuss that nothing should change internally, and we would like to remain the same boring fund house that we were before the lockdown, and approach this on a daily basis, one day at a time, because every day is a new day and every day is a new learning. I think we were just having this conversation that we worked for long enough, but this 20-25 days have been so dramatically different that every day throws up a new sort of opportunity or challenge, and one has to brace up to that. But for us internally, I think nothing has changed. We approach the business in the same way. I think we would like to continue with the consistency that we showed the market. See, overall, we are just 11 years in India, and that's the first phase of the business. I think we had targeted that let's first build 15 years of track record, and once we complete 15 years of track record, then we would stand up and tell you that yes, we are capable of handling long-term money. So that's the process we are still in. We approach 12 years as we speak. I think a large cap fund has just completed 12 years of track record. So 3 more years would be our first landmark. And this is just one blip in that whole thing. It's a great experience, I think, of how we approach, because the upgradation is pretty dramatic. And especially internally, I think the biggest message we've learned is on the technology side. We thought we were tech savvy, but the gaps or the learnings that are coming about are pretty phenomenal. And we are taking note of that, and that will be a pretty good steep learning curve in this entire process.
Yeah, you also mentioned that you're a boring fund house. On your Twitter profile, that's the first thing I see. Boring equity seller. But apart from the word boring there, trust me, our viewers will find nothing else which is boring. In fact, your profile these days, especially during the lockdown, I keep saying, is you're a huge music fan, right? And that is one of the not lesser known facts about you, I want to say, because you did feature in an article a couple of years ago or maybe months ago, where I saw you're a huge fan of collecting vinyl records. And you do play
Yes.
these songs, and you have a song of the day during this period. I think a little bit of a sort of lighter note to add to our otherwise stressful lives. So for maybe those 30 seconds or a minute, you forget everything else and you're like, okay, everything's right, still right with the world.
Yes. No, I keep on saying that I have a therapist, and that is music. And it's such a wonderful thing to have. I'm a, as you rightly said, I'm a third generation vinyl listener. My grandfather started it, and then my father carried it forward, and I've sort of inherited that collection, and I've built on that. The good part is between my grandfather, my father, myself, and now my son, all of us have very different music tastes. My wife is also very different in her music taste. So when you put all that together, it becomes pretty decent. So yes, that's where you sort of wedge out to, and at the end of the day, one or two songs, good songs on a good analog format, is changes the entire day. So yes, thank you for that, and yes, it does bring a smile on the face every time. Otherwise, money and managing somebody else's money is not easy. It's a fiduciary role. Please understand, people trust us with their money, and at the same time, we don't guarantee anything in return. And that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And it gets to you at times. And when you have something like this, and of course, I do go out, travel a lot. So these are the two my biggest go-to things when I break away from my work, sort of.
Okay, I'm glad you said you spoke about traveling as well, because yes, I did read about that a few articles. I think vaguely remember you also mentioned something about food in one of those articles. I think you did. It was a long while ago.
How can we not have food? That's fundamental, right?
Yeah, so you're a
We
foodie as
are a
well.
bunch of friends, and most probably from the financial services.
Mm-hmm.
Even now, when we chat on the Zoom call, all of us together, first we do our virtual travel, where are we going, and then what food will we have once it opens up. And every day, trust me, what did you have today is what is the biggest thing. When I travel, it's like after breakfast, I ask my wife what is for lunch. It's one cuisine to the other, and that's I think it completes everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when I come to Bangalore, has lovely food. So these are every city has its own place, and that's how you lead life, right?
Yes, that's how we talk about our cities, right? The food joints that are famous and good, but a little unknown places. And all of us love finding these
Yes.
little hidden spots, hidden gems, and telling our friends that what, that is the place you have to visit. So I think that's something that we do as well. So today is also Earth Day, and I know you're a huge wildlife fan, if I can call you that. And I was so glad that we sort of scheduled this for today, because I was like, okay, this is something else that I can talk to him about, and this is something else that people may not know about you. So yeah, I'm glad that we're doing this today.
Shadai, good you asked me, because both my parents are doctorates in zoology,
Okay.
and so it probably comes. And my father-in-law was a vet. Okay, so from both sides, between me and my wife, I think it's come down genetically. So we've been in the jungles with animals since our childhood, and going to the jungles is something which I do believe every person should do. And we talk about wildlife outside the country. The wildlife in India is something which is out of the world, and especially when you talk about wildlife in India, you restrict it to the tiger, and that's not exactly fair to the rest of the animals that are there in India. I mean, across the globe, you can across the country also, there are so many forests that one must visit. I've done a fair bit, and I've been doing forests for 20-25 years now. Every year there would be one or two at least visits to the forest, and that's, I think, the oxygen there increases your lifespan, and going out there and being with the jungles and understanding animals just changes you as an individual. So and forget the world. I think the Indian forests stand out, and if you haven't seen the forests of India, you're missing something in life, is my submission.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan as well. In fact, one of the things that I wanted to do for my parents was take them on a jungle sort of safari and visit, because every time I'd come back and keep telling my mother that, this is what happened and we had this sighting, and, we'd show her pictures, and she would just look at me saying, how are you, like, what is a sighting? I could see those questioning looks. And we took her to the Gir jungle in Gujarat, and we did morning safaris, evening safaris. Both, of course, morning and evening are both so different, and the sightings are so different, which people don't sort of realize sometimes. The jungle looks so different. different seasons. You
Jungle
see,
looks
the jungle looks so different. So, and my mom, I
correct.
mean, the
Correct.
awe on her face was, wow, like sort of childlike. So I had my son with me and my mom with me, both of whom were just in awe. And I'm just looking at them saying, okay, these are so similar expressions, and this is what I came here to see.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nature has its own, beauty, and if you haven't experienced that, then you're missing a big part of life.
Yes,
That's true.
absolutely. I think everybody should have this in their
Correct.
sort of life goals, a bucket list, whatever they call it. They should definitely have this.
Yeah.
While we are advising investors and viewers listening to this, what else would you want to advise them? Because something that we are really seeing today is people are stopping their systematic investment plans, their investments, people are withdrawing. So, what would you like to tell them?
Yeah, I think the fundamental scope of investing is to, control the controllables, right? There are some things which are not in our hands, and those two things primarily are markets and how they behave. And the second is probably policy making of the government during such times. Those are the two things which invariably are not under our control. What is in our control is the asset allocation, right? And what are our goals on which we asset allocate, right?
Yeah.
So these are the two controllables on which one should concentrate on. Typically, people don't look at this part and look at markets and policy making on a broad part, which clearly are not in our hands. Over the years, one would have learned that, in volatility always lies the opportunity. And if there is no volatility, then the scope of giving that alpha, as we call, or that slightly higher return diminishes. It is in these times that great businesses are found at good values, and that's something which everybody should understand. And especially since you talked about SIP, these kind of volatile times are the best friends, not friend, best friend of an SIP investor. These are the times for which the SIP investor actually looks forward to, or is actually invested through the SIP route, right? He or she is now accumulating units 30% lower at a price than the person was just 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I don't mind anybody stopping SIPs or wanting to leave SIPs at a market peak. But when you are, stopping or, going out of the market at this moment, then clearly, the understanding of the process of SIP, which the biggest advantage is rupee cost averaging, because you start buying, units at such attractive prices, is lost completely. I can understand somebody wanting to leave the market saying that this is not good enough. Oh, it's great. It's somebody who's realized that this is not my cup of tea, this risk was not good for us. But at the bottom of the market is never a good time to redeem or leave. That decision is fine. I respect that decision, because finally it's the investor's money. Leave when the market is good. Get out at a time which is sane. Don't get out at times which are like this, which are, probably the worst time to get out of the market. Again, I say the redemption decision is right, because the risk ability of the person, or the risk profile of the person, he or she has found that this is a mismatch, which is perfect, because every person's risk profile is correct. Nobody's risk profile is incorrect. Okay, the investment experience is at the best if the risk profile and the investing vehicle match in risk profiles, right? So somebody has decided that fine, this 30% volatility is not my cup of tea, so I should leave. But two things in mind. One is, leaving at the bottom of the market is never wise. That is what history has told us. Second, as an SIP investor, it is just the opposite. These are good times for SIP. If you ask me personally, if the market, this small run-up is not, I'm not very happy with this small run-up. Actually, my SIP, which is hitting tomorrow, is taking a higher price than what it was just 10 days ago. So as an SIP investor, I would want this, what we call the bottom of the J curve to be broad, and so that I can accumulate much more units than I could earlier. So please, at these moments, it is how we behave which defines the kind of wealth we will make on the other side of this entire episode of COVID-19. Please, the thing that I'd like to tell, all investors is, every crisis comes with a start date and a bottom and an end date, right? And next time, the world upgrades to every crisis. Next time there is COVID-19, this volatility will not be there. The world would have stepped up, right? In my 25 years of working, I've just seen 5 crises. Harshad Mehta, the Asian markets, the .com, the 2008, and now COVID-19. That is how few number of instances that have happened in my 25 years of working, right? So next, it's not that there has not been a financial meltdown, but the world has upgraded.
Yeah.
Next time there is a medical emergency, the world would upgrade. And some of us are going through that. We're going through realizations of what we lack in our own lives. If next time there is a COVID-19, we'll be much more prepared, right? So please be rational and look at it. I mean, the moment you expand this horizon to 2 to 3 years, your own questions will give you answers yourself which are different from now. So be a little rational and look at it from that perspective. It's not something which have affected the underlying companies where the funds are investing. It's this scenario which is different. And once this scenario is out, and trust me, the world is working on finding a solution. Trust the scientists or the doctors of the world. They will find a solution. And once that solution is over, the world would come back onto its own. Maybe it'll take some time or it'll be very quick. That I don't know. I'm not a soothsayer. But it will come back. And that point of time, will be very different from what it is now. So be a little rational and look through this process a little patiently. A lot can be very different is what I'm saying.
Okay, so patience is something that Swaroop strongly recommends to you guys. I think one other thing that I would recommend is just don't look at your portfolio. I think that just helps loads. Yeah.
I believe that the only person who makes money in mutual funds is the person who's lost his account statement.
Yeah. Yeah, the only problem is today everything's online and we have so much time today that, you're just so tempted to see it multiple times a day. In fact, that's one thing that we definitely recommend, that don't see your portfolio every day. And today is now is the worst time to see it because you tend to want to do something to correct it, and you will only end up harming yourself rather than helping yourself. So I think that's just...
I would believe.
Yeah. So what are you doing with your portfolio, Swaroop? Are you staying invested? Are you increasing equity? What are you doing?
Yeah, actually, I started seriously investing during the late 90s. Okay. And that the tech boom and the subsequent burst was my first learning. I came to realize that it was not about returns, but it was about risk. And that was my first learning in investing with a rude shock. I actually lost more money in 2001 phase than in 2008, because by that point of time, I had formed a more diversified portfolio. But 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think were defining years for me for my investing journey. And I just understood or the actual process of staying invested and the benefits of it. And I learned how to hold allocations at that point of time. So at this moment, I would say because of these two learnings, first, my asset allocation now a fixed sort of asset allocation. I do a 60-40 ratio equity to debt perpetually. What has happened because of this COVID-19 is 60% had gone down by 30%, right? So I have been systematically adjusting my loss from the debt side of the portfolio. I will make good the entire 30% of drop in my equity book from the debt side. And I put a sort of 2-month period because I believe COVID-19 will be 2 months. So already 1 month is gone where I bought at all levels. I'm just being very honest, and I'm actually not happy with myself because I missed 23rd, which was the lowest in the market. I got the previous day, I got the next day. I don't know why. Maybe we were caught up at work and this new cutoff time of 12 o'clock just missed me. Okay. But I don't miss bottoms in the market. And in 2 months' time, I will make good my 30% loss, the amount. And then post that, I will start reallocating to debt is what I feel, because I don't want to miss this downturn of equity. I don't know when it will come. Like I said, it's just come 5 times in my life.
Yeah.
And this time I'm very sure, and I think I have become a slightly better investor than I was in 2008. And so I will make good my equity losses from that side and then come out of it stronger is my belief. Otherwise, as I said, the boring word also applies to me. So I am very mathematical in my investment approach. But the other thing which has struck me, and I've been a big fan of a big medical insurance over life insurance. I do believe that I will earn enough. This is my personal opinion. I may be wrong, but I think the need for medical insurance has gone up in this period. Maybe as it goes on, I'm fairly covered. As per Indian standards, I would be okay, but I think that is less. So that's a big learning from COVID-19. That will play out on the other side. But I've always had an emergency fund which lasts me. It was 6 months emergency because I do believe if I lose a job in 6 months, I will get another job back. That much confidence I have. But I think I need to extend that a bit. These are the two realizations of this.
Great, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Sarup. Last question before we sort of wind up. What is it that you're looking forward to most after the lockdown ends?
Yeah, I think when you started the conversation, most of what I look forward was all spelled out. I'm a very physical person and I'm not a virtual person that, I've never had a Facebook account. I don't believe in connectivity on the virtual side, though I have to do it now, so I'm doing it. But I don't agree with this kind of meeting. I would rather be in your office meeting you. That's how I've spent my life. And I'm looking forward to getting back to that. See, there are two sides of looking at it, and because I reflect on this from our cell office, it's not that Korea has not been affected by COVID-19. It is probably one of the worst hit countries in the world, but not a single day was a lockdown in that country. I don't believe lockdown is a solution. Okay, we are waiting for something to happen. We have to make some things happen. Right, today we had that big debate within ourselves in office. We have to go out and take it on or do whatever within the safety parameters, right? Not do anything foolish. But at the same time, life has to go on, and life will go on. Life will go on if we react. So I think I'm looking forward to getting back to the world, meeting people again, and going back and doing things which I loved most. And that is, I have two fundas in life. That is read more, meet more. Reading I'm doing, though I'm still not getting back to the books. I'm more on the online reading. That's something which hits me. But I think I need to get back to meeting more people because every learning comes from meeting people, and I think getting a little tired of it. Let it get over. I'll get back to my life, and I'll get back to life with a vengeance. I'm telling you.
So we are looking forward to that. We're looking forward to having you in our office as well. Thank you so much for doing this, and it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much.
A pleasure's mine, Shraddha. Thank you so much, and wish you all the best.